Hey guys, it's Andy with Team of the Century and Century 21 Everest. Thanks for joining us today. I have Atkin here with Meth Mobs. We're going to go over all the different things that we do when it comes to real estate, with meth tests, what that means for you, and then how they go about cleaning it up and kind of demystify where you need to be concerned and where you don't need to be concerned. So, Ann, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Andy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We just got done with the class.
Yep.
And you did an amazing job, and there was so much that I learned that I really had no idea. And we've dealt with meth before.
Yep.
So you did 3 homes for us last year that you decontaminated for us. So one of the things I was surprised by, let's talk about who are the highest users of meth. Like, that was a real big surprise to me.
Yeah, it is surprising. We're Utah, where all things are glowy and good, right?
Exactly.
But the number one user in Utah is a white mom.
That's crazy.
And we got a lot of us here, right? A lot of us.
In Utah, for sure.
Yeah, of those in treatment for meth in Utah, over 75% are women and mothers. It's our drug of choice. That's how we get everything done.
That is crazy. Yeah. Why? Do you have a theory on that? I mean, according to Ann, or is there a statistic that you know? Or?
Well, I guess it's more Ann Atkin theory, but we all know about the opioid crisis that's out there, and opioids. My little brother just wrecked on his motorcycle. He's on opioids right now. He broke his back. He broke his leg. It's necessary, right?
Yeah.
You have to have those painkillers so your body can heal, and then it's really easy to go. I either go to work today, or I get off my opioids. I either handle my scout troop, got the Klondike Derby this weekend, I either let them down, or I take my opioids because there's a time when they're essential. But then they make you tired and lethargic, and your doctor's going to cut you off.
Yeah,
we know about the dangers.
Yeah.
Well, meth is just like an opioid. It's a painkiller, but it gives you energy. Hence the mother thing, where we have to work twice as hard as dads, right?
Well, my wife certainly does.
We're all working hard to be the best people we can here, and meth makes it a little bit easier because the back pain's gone, plus I have all this energy that I can get all the stuff done that I need to do. So opioids are kind of a precursor to meth because your doctor's not going to cut you off. You can find it anywhere, and it helps us function, or at least that's what we think, and we think we can be in control of it.
And does that what happens is it helps you function, and then eventually it gets out of hand where it's not as good, it's not as much, and then it goes crazy?
Maybe helping you function is a poor way to say it.
Okay.
But what it does is it kills the pain, and it gives you energy. So if I need to get my kids off to school, get the house clean, close the deal with the flippin' appraiser who just underappraised my house. I've got a closing at 3, and they want all this from my client, and then I've got to get my kids off to piano lessons or soccer, and then I've got to teach my own soccer or whatever it is. I've got to do dinner. And then I want to have a little bit of time for myself.
Yeah.
Meth makes that easier.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in a day.
Not on meth. You can do anything because you don't need sleep anymore.
Wow.
So I can get it all done. And it's okay if I go to sleep at 3 in the morning or just lay down because it'll help me do that. Oh, plus, bonus, 30 days later, I've lost 5 pounds. Oh, it's a win-win. I'm not selling drugs.
Not selling it, but
I go, it's that good. People think it helps them until they lose control over it.
Yeah. It's good until it's not anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't.
Yes.
Oh.
Sad.
I've never had the experience with it that I know of anybody dealing with meth so far.
Yep.
But from what you talked about in there and how it affects people, that's rough. And one of the things you brought up in the class was that this wasn't a class about meth. This what you do is not about whether or not to smoke meth and all that. It's a class about poison. Meaning what you guys do is you go in there and you're going to go test a home for meth, and you're really testing for poison. So touch on that. What does meth do? Why should someone have a meth test?
Meth, as opposed to drugs, we can all sit and talk about, is marijuana bad for us? Is heroin bad for us? Is OxyContin bad for us? If I smoke marijuana or if I drop heroin on the floor, when I vacuum it up, it's gone.
Okay.
Meth is concocted. There's one molecule difference between Sudafed and meth.
Okay.
And everything that's used to change that molecule is a carcinogen. So Drano is used in making meth. Drano's not used in making marijuana.
Yeah, you don't
heroin.
water your plant with Drano.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have all these carcinogens that are used to do that chemical changing of the molecule. Mm-hmm. And they don't off-gas, they don't go away. So meth is concocted into a crystal format. You've heard crystal meth.
Yeah.
So imagine a piece of salt sitting on your table. It's a crystal. They're there until they're removed.
Yeah.
Salt is not going to off-gas. Meth is not going to off-gas. But in that crystal, there's a little bit of Drano. There's a little bit of starter fluid. There's a little bit of, this crazy stuff that goes into meth. Everything is a carcinogen that causes cancer with the exception of Sudafed. So there, even though it's in baby format, that it's in that crystal meth, it's still there.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking about third-hand meth in real estate, not are there drugs in the house.
Yeah, we're not worried about somebody smoking it. That's their issue. But when it comes to real estate, it's all about testing. Did someone ever do it?
Yeah, and it's there. It doesn't off-gas. It doesn't go away, so it can be there 10 years later.
Yeah, you were saying in the class, it's longer than our lifetime. If you don't do something about it, it will be there. So you're not going to vacuum it out of your carpet.
Right.
So if you vacuum up, though, you were saying heroin and whatnot, if you vacuum that up, it goes away. Why does meth not go away? And I don't know anything about heroin either. So
right.
What's the?
It's in a crystal format.
Okay.
And crystal doesn't off-gas.
Okay.
So
when you say off-gas, you mean evaporate or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I understood.
So if you think of it benign like salt. If salt's in your carpet and you vacuum it up, it's gone. Mm-hmm. If any of it's still left behind, how long will it take to go away?
It just sits there.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
And what happens is when somebody's smoking meth, and in that vapor just kind of goes wherever it goes. So gravity takes most of it down. Our floors and carpets are our most contaminated portion. But then if I'm smoking right here and some of it lands on your desk, it's going to be right there and it's going to sit there. And we live in an oily world. Mm-hmm. That's why we aerate our lawns. We have to punch holes in because oil covers it and the water doesn't go in. And we wash the insides of our car windows because they get oily.
Yeah.
We just have an oily world. So that oil hangs onto that crystal.
So it kind of it not attaches chemically, but it just sits there inside of it. Yeah. And if you don't get rid of the oil, you're not going to get rid of the meth.
Yeah. That's what it's like when somebody's dirty fingerprints get on a wall. It's oily that's holding that dirt.
Yeah.
Right? In your furnace system, it's oil that's holding the pet dander in there that makes it look yucky in a cold air return, but the oil is just sticky. Yeah. So it holds on to it.
Yeah, and you can't just wipe it away. There's more to it than that. It has to attach to a detergent to get wiped away. You didn't just water it like towel or something.
Yeah, you can vacuum it up, but it's so microscopic. If you haven't gotten rid of that oily surface, you haven't got rid of the meth that's attached to it.
One of the things I really appreciated about what you were talking about up there is, for most of us, if we lived in a meth house, it wouldn't matter. Like, we're not going to have major effects. For most of us, it's not going to be as big a deal. But the people who are most susceptible to it are little kids and everything. So talk about that. Why are they so susceptible, and where does that go? Explain that.
Well, our meth law in Utah was built around what is safe for an infant. And if you think about the vapor of meth, whether I'm cooking it, smoking it, injecting it, a lot of it's going to go down. Who's down there?
All of our kids.
All of our kids.
Yeah.
They're doing exactly what they should be doing. They're learning how to walk, learning how to crawl, wrestling with their friends, playing Xbox or whatever 2019 cool thing is to do. But they're doing exactly what they should be doing. And we're never down there on the floors because it's too hard to get up, right?
I can't get back up.
Yeah.
I hear
I
you.
go, when kids are learning how to crawl and walk, we let them do it in the most contaminated area, and we sit in our chair and go, come to mama.
Yeah.
So they're the most contaminated, and they're also the most vulnerable. If you think when they recommend getting flu shots, who do they recommend it to?
The elderly And little kids.
The young, the old, the weak, and immune system.
Yep.
Yeah, you hit it. And so those are the ones that are going to be susceptible to anything that's going to cause stress to their immune system.
Yeah.
So meth is the same thing. The young, the old, the weak, and immune system are going to be more susceptible to the effects of it. So a baby has a lung to body ratio, right?
Yeah.
And they're breathing fast and furious. When we take in deep breaths, we have a lung to body ratio. So there's so many things working against a child with their immune system and what they can tolerate versus us. We put all sorts of crap in our body.
I drank 2 rock stars this morning.
Yeah. I'm a sugar-free Red Bull gal. We all have our poison, right? And we're going to live through it, and we're going to survive. And I grew up without seat belts. It's not the have-all, end-all, be-all, but I go, I can do something about my house for my 22 grandkids. I can do something about my house for you're not old enough to have grandkids.
Not yet.
So
Thankfully.
I go, but if you came over to my house for a Super Bowl party and brought your family, I can do something about that. And trust that, for the most part, they should be pretty healthy. They've got healthy parents, and you never know when that genetic or gene or susceptibility comes. But the most vulnerable are in the highest contaminated. Oh, and the other thing is they have zero hygiene, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's
6 days. I don't need a bath, Mom. I'm good.
Oh, it's amazing how much my kids, even at 9, 10, 11 years old, fight taking a bath.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
And everything goes in their mouth because, again, they're just doing what they should be doing, their kids.
Yep.
And that's why the susceptibility is there. All the stars are lined up against them with meth. That's all.
Everything. So how many homes on average are going to be contaminated with meth?
A national statistic in the United States is 1 in 10 houses will have meth in it. Crazy,
so
right?
90% are meth free, but 10% is a high number.
Right, it is. And in Utah, we're top 5 in the nation for meth use, which is crazy. So a lot of the big home inspectors that are doing stuff statewide, they tell me between 1 in 5 and 1 in 7 of their tests are positive.
So anecdotally in Utah, they're coming up 20% or more.
Higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And when I don't do as much pre-testing because as certified decontamination specialist, we're decontaminating testing on the back end. But when I do pre-tests, I'm about the 1 in 10.
Okay.
I don't hit those higher numbers, but I'm not testing all day long like home inspectors are.
Yeah.
I generally get called in after to confirm something, but it's a crazy number.
That's a lot of people.
Number.
That is a lot of people. So typically a home inspector goes, and the typical, from my experience, has been about $125 is what our home inspector charges for that.
Yep.
They do the meth test. Now, we'll have to get you and our home inspector talking and lined up because I think that they actually have somebody come do it. They don't do it themselves.
Okay.
And so somebody comes in and does it because when it tests positive, they go through, it gets reported, they do the whole deal. So talk about that. What happens when a home, you test a home, and as the certified, how do you say, certified
decontamination specialist.
There we go.
Yeah.
You're required by law to report it to the health department if it's over the legal limit.
Correct.
What happens? We were mostly dealing in Salt Lake County, and you were saying every county is different. But in Salt Lake County, what happens when it's over the legal limit?
In Salt Lake County, the health department will shut a house down. So it takes meth contamination very seriously and says, you might not think 5 is a big deal, but we're not going to let you make that choice for your children. We'll make that choice for your children.
Yeah.
Or we'll make that choice for grandma. They take serious. They're scientists. They do this stuff. So I have no reason to doubt them either. Yeah. But they go, if the state considers it unsafe, it is not habitable until it's decontaminated and tested.
They're not making money on this. They have
no.
There's no reason for them to say you can't live here anymore. I say it's strictly for the health of the person.
Yes.
It's just like smoking around kids, where they've just made it. You can't do that anymore. Cigarettes and all of that. Same thing now with.
I mean, they'll shut a house down if it has no water and there's sewer stuff going.
Yeah.
They're passionate about safe houses.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You may choose to live in squalor, but you don't get to make that choice for others.
Yeah, and especially for your kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing of all of this is doing the right thing, is always doing the right thing, and watching out for kids is always going to be the right thing.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I go, we're adults. We can put Rockstar and Red Bull in us. We can make, but would you give a Rockstar to your kindergartner before they tear off?
I have seen it one time.
The kindergarten teacher kill you.
I saw one time we were at Costco and somebody was feeding their child in the car seat a Rockstar, and I was blown away. Like, really? Wow, my kids don't. Thankfully, my oldest, she doesn't like soda at all, so we don't have.
You're lucky. That's awesome.
It burns her nose. So you talked about a stigma out there, and what everyone, and until I got into real estate, I thought the same thing. If you have meth in your house, down to the studs, everything has to be torn out. It's now a full remodel. Everything is going to be changed. Yeah. What is the process? Because that's not the case now. What's the process of cleaning?
It's daisy maids and Ghostbuster suits at the end of the day.
I need a copy of that picture so I can put it right here.
I honestly, what it is, so our product is part detergent, part oxidizer. So our product actually extracts it out of the paint and neutralize it. But so much of it is getting the oily surface gone that's holding on to the meth. So it is, it would be awesome if it was just spray on and you could walk away. It's scrubbing. It's very physical, but it is just scrubbing with chemical. So an easy way for me to explain it, you've used 409 before, right? Pretty common chemical. And if you have a fingerprint on the wall and you spray that 409, you wipe it off. Yeah. It's good. And if you have crayons, you leave it on a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you think of it that way, our product, I could pour it on my skin. It's not going to tear my skin off or anything. But imagine using 409 in a closet with the door shut and spraying all the walls. Would you need a gas mask?
Yeah, it'd be horrible. Yeah, I can barely clean my bathroom without the fan on, the doors open.
Right.
Like, no.
So it's the same thing. Our chemical is such high quantities that we're scrubbing every inch of ceiling, of wall, of floor. We pull out every cupboard, every drawer, pull off all the registers, take the squirrel cage out of the furnace. And there's so much in there you can hardly see from here to the wall.
Wow.
So it is a green product, but it's like, so it's 409.
Yeah, it's super concentrated. You don't
it's super concentrated, and you could use it on one wall and it would take care of it. When you're using it on a whole house, it gets pretty thick, and then it dries up, and we rinse everything off. But that's what it is. It's really scrubbing to get rid of it. It doesn't. We're trying to get rid of that crystal. And make it go away and change the chemical makeup of it.
Gotcha. And once you guys go in, you scrub a whole house, but it's not just walls. It's not just the ceiling and the carpet. Right. It's every piece. If somebody has smoked meth in the house, it's every piece of furniture that all of it could be contaminated.
Yep.
And so if you go into a house where the bedrooms they smoked meth in their bedroom, the bed's got to go, or anything you said that was porous. What do you guys have to keep, and what can you decontaminate?
I'll tell you what's typical is nothing.
Everything goes.
Yeah. Mattresses are porous, so mattresses go. Couches almost always are porous, whether it's leather, they're upholstered, they go. It costs us money, labor, testing, chemical to decontaminate. So it's fairly typical that it's cheaper to go buy it than pay us to decontaminate it.
Exactly.
And in the case of a house, then it is cheaper to pay us. Mm-hmm. But if you had a picnic table with 2 benches, that maybe that's what you had in your kitchen, but you have 3 pieces, it could cost you $300 to decontaminate it. You go to Costco and buy a new one for $149.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And so maybe that high chair that has been through the whole family line, great grandma, grandma, maybe that's worth paying the money for. But the car seat that you can get at Costco for cheaper,
it's not going to be worth it.
It's not worth it. And some things just can't be decontaminated. So in almost all cases, everything goes in the house, and we just decontaminate the house. Yeah,
and it's a lot of work. I mean, you guys spend a lot of time.
It's a lot of labor.
Yeah, it's not fun,
Yeah.
and it's great the end product, but the work itself, like
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to go do it themselves, I mean, you're just talking about every ceiling, every wall, the carpet you can't clean if
Correct.
it has been contaminated. It all has to be taken out.
Carpet and pad goes to the dump.
Okay.
Because it's permeable, and the rest really is just scrubbing away, and you know, it's on a 2,000 square foot house, you probably have 80 hours of labor ish,
Wow.
and I go, we live in a state where we do a lot of stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
We just do.
True.
It's the
A lot
way
of
we
people
were
like to
raised.
sell their houses on their own.
Yeah,
It's a thing.
Yeah. And I go-
Utah County especially, that's a big thing down there.
yeah, and that's I call it our good old Utah pioneer heritage.
Yep.
And I own it and I love it, and now I trust professionals a lot more because I've made enough costly mistakes. I'm like, oh man, that would have been cheaper. But I had to learn that the hard way because guess how I was raised?
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And I'm the same
Yeah.
way. If the doctor says X, Y, I pretty much just jump. If they tell me to jump, this is your job. It's the same thing with real estate. I know my business, my
Yeah.
little niche. But outside of that, if someone else is doing this, I trust what their opinion is.
Right.
Yes, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's just our world we live in.
Yeah. So one of the things that we find is every time we have a rental, when we're representing the buyer, we always have them test for meth.
Good.
It's pretty much consistent across the board because that's almost always where we found it. But I didn't realize how many homes out there have meth. So we've got to restructure how we do everything now because
Yeah.
it's 10% of homes that have meth, but 75% of the users are moms or
75%
women.
of the people in treatment in
Oh, okay.
Utah.
So different than users. So is there
Right.
a statistic on users versus not?
I don't know
nothing
how we
else?
would know that.
Okay.
That's the tricky part. So it's like,
So treatment's an easy way because now you know that they've. Okay, that makes
Right.
sense. That makes sense.
and everybody wants to help their family member, whether it's a brother or sister.
Mm-hmm.
I just go, it's the women that are the primary users. It doesn't mean you're off the hook.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we all know male and female, but it's just, it breaks all the molds for who uses drugs.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really does. You just
I wouldn't
don't
have
think
thought
of.
that. How do you, if you're going out to look at homes, how would you say this house should be tested and this house shouldn't be tested? Because a lot of $125, while we'll talk about that a little bit, why that's really not that much money, but that's
Right.
not $20. That's a chunk
You're right.
of change,
Yes,
right?
it is expensive. So I'm an advocate of test every house every time. I don't care if meth mob decontamination specialist just decontaminated it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It could be realtors with their super key in there. Not throwing realtors under the bus. It could be home inspectors.
Yeah.
I don't care if we just decontaminate it. Test it to protect your investment.
Yes, you have to be careful with you're absolutely right because there are realtors that go into vacant houses. They think it says vacant. We know that nobody's there.
Yep.
That's very true.
Yep. And so number one user is women and mothers. Number two user in Utah is construction worker.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Kills the pain. And guess
Oh,
what?
that makes
I can
perfect
go
sense.
to work. If I had to do cement work, I'd probably be on meth.
I did cement work for a week, and there's a reason
You know
I
what
only
I'm
did it
saying,
for
right?
a week.
It's hard work.
It is. It's
And
really
so
tough.
if you had to be a framer in St. George in July, did they stop building?
Nope.
No.
Not even a little bit.
And so you can either not go to work and not provide for your family, or take a little of what helps you get through the day.
Oh.
And if you're in control of it, it's an easy one. My family's counting on me.
Yep.
And I promise you, that is a rationalization that goes on in their head, and it's that simple.
Yeah.
And to you and I, that you may go, are you kidding me? But when you break it down to, I have a backache today, and I have Klondike Derby this weekend, and there's nobody who's going to take these rotten little boys camping and stay, and then you know they're going to be up till, you're going to get no sleep, and you're
Yep.
going to freeze your bones off. And it's your job.
Yep.
So what are you going to do?
You're gonna
If
make
it means
happen.
Advil, you're going to take Advil, and if
Yeah.
it needs something a little more than Advil, you're going to make it happen.
Oh, that's
So
very true.
I go, We've decontaminated brand new construction where nobody's lived in the house.
Wow.
Test every house every time. Now, does that mean every new house has meth in it? No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean every house has meth, but you'll never know until you test. And I do have these conversations often, at least twice a month, where a client goes, shoot, I wished I would have tested when I bought this 2 years ago, 5 years ago. My realtor told me, and I didn't want to spend the money, or my realtor didn't tell me, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
But people can buy problems that they don't even know about,
Yeah.
and guess what? It'll test positive in 5 years
Yep.
when you go to sell it. So for me, I'm a test every house every time, so you know you're not buying a problem that the next buyers, it's kind of whoever gets caught with it pays.
Yeah, you're stuck.
It's not a law.
And it never goes away. It
Yeah.
could have been 3 owners ago.
Yes.
You have no idea because
Yes.
it doesn't go away.
It could be 3 owners ago.
Yeah.
And it could be, we did a house that the guy was just stunned. It was positive. And if you walked in, you and I would both judge it as, are you kidding me? This place is immaculate.
Really?
Beautiful. And we tested each level in the beginning. It was a 4-level house. Remember,
Okay.
you know, the ramblers that are split half, right?
multi-level.
Yeah, I live in one of those, so I can
I
talk
lived in
bad
one.
about them. I hate them. 28 years, I'm still there, but
You don't hate it that much, huh?
I had my knees replaced, so it doesn't hurt anymore.
I know somebody who can
So-
help you find a new house.
Good idea.
Sorry. Keep going.
Anyway, so we tested each level. Master's upstairs.
Uh-huh.
It tests the lowest, but it's still like if I'm remembering, it was 15. The next level was 30. The next level was 45, and then it went to 90. So the hotter downstairs, the higher level it got. And this guy has all of his kids gone.
And 1 is the legal limit.
One
When you
is
say
the legal
15,
limit.
it's
Yeah,
15
so
times the legal limit.
yes.
Okay.
So we've got to decontaminate the whole house. And most of the time when we decontaminate, we got it the first time. We test every single room in 3 areas. We make sure it's all clear. Well, in this house, we had a bedroom come back over the legal limit, and the bathroom right next to it was under the legal limit, but still higher than we like. We don't like our houses close to the legal limit. So I had to call him up and go, we're not going to have your house back to you. Give me a few more days. I had a room fill. He wants to know which one. 3 months later, he's not talking to that kid because in his teenage years. So he automatically has it figured out where it came from, and it's like the bathroom. And so, but he had no idea. And his kids had been out for 12 years.
And they were functioning kids. I'm sure all
yeah.
kids have issues,
They're fine.
right?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but he was a functioning kid at the time. So the signs are... you might not know.
I go, I don't know what the signs are. It's 1 in 10 houses nationwide.
Yeah. Oh, that's enough though, because that's the cost of getting it decontaminated. It's not cheap. It's
not.
way more expensive than just getting it tested. So testing every house makes perfect sense because now that we know that, we were only testing the rentals. Now that we know it's that prevalent, and we sell a lot of homes, but not every home's been a rental for a while. But if you've ever had someone come live with you, or they stay with you for a little bit, or anything like that. The common misconception that I found out today was a misconception was that it would smell like cats.
Yeah.
Clint and I were both floored by that because this smells like cats. They don't have a cat. We should get it tested.
Yeah.
Now, it's odorless.
When you're smoking meth, it is odorless. So the cat smell was great if you're manufacturing, and it can have that smell, that sulfur type of odor. But if you have a cat smell now, you have cats. and that's a trickier one to get rid of than meth.
That really is a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's a killer on a lot of deals. Yeah, the cat thing, it's tough to get rid of. It kills a lot of deals because it's not. It's almost more than smoking. Cats kill a lot of deals.
Have you used Pam with the overall air?
No. What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
So her name is Pam Taylor, and I can give you her contact information. But she has a company called Overall Air, and she can get rid of about any odor.
Okay, so you guys go in. A lot of people, when they hear that a house has meth, it's over, we're out, we're not buying this house. It's done, right? You guys go in and clean it, it comes back at 0. Is it safe?
Absolutely. And I try never to lose a deal.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like keep the deal together, because how many houses have you gone to till that client's found the house they love?
So sometimes
Right?
dozens.
Dozens.
Yeah.
And then I know multiple offers aren't as prevalent today as they were 4 months ago or 8 months ago, but you're still fighting that.
Yeah.
So once a house is decontaminated, you're going to end up with new carpet, new pad. There's generally some paint touch-up. But I go, you're actually walking into a better house after a decontamination than before, believe it or not.
Exactly. It's 100% safe.
Yeah.
You're not, you don't kind of decontaminate a house. It's not sort of done.
We tested at the end to make sure, and like I said, on this other house where we had a room come back, it happens to us on occasion. It's rare, but in my company, I test and I don't do any of the decontamination work. I don't have anything mixed where I clean and I go, I'm going to clean extra good over here because I'm going to test right there. I want to put the templates up anywhere I choose, and if it comes back, we deserve to go back.
Yeah.
I want safe houses. So it's not going to reappear. If we've got it, we've got it. And if it doesn't test under the legal limit, we're going to get it till it's under it. We're going to make it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we leave.
Absolutely. And then so you talked about where you test. Where do you guys test in the houses? Where's it the most prevalent that you know that you're going to be able to get it?
You have asked the loaded question, and I don't know where it's most prevalent. Because on one hand, I go, I think like a meth user. So I think I would go in the bathroom and turn on the fan.
Yeah. That's a really interesting spot. I wouldn't have thought the fan, but that makes a lot of sense.
But I'd do it in your bathroom.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a bedroom at your house. If you invite me over for a Super Bowl party, where am I going to go?
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I never knew that it was so odorless. God, that makes a lot of sense.
And if I'm a teenage kid, and I was not the best teenager, but if I was that, then I just smoke in my room and open the window.
Yeah.
And if I'm the white mother in Utah, I just smoke in my own master.
Yeah.
Well, I can smoke anywhere I want, right?
Yeah, I'm home.
So where is it most prevalent? I don't know. When we decontaminate a house and a home inspector goes in, and let's say they tested it 3 times over the legal limit or 30 times over the legal limit, we're going to clean because we'll use different amounts of product depending upon
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's the same product, but it takes more scrubbing on a house that's 30 times over the legal limit versus 3.
Yeah, it's the baked on lasagna on your dishes versus like
Exactly.
spaghetti.
Yep.
I got you.
Yep. And that is a perfect example. It's the same product, same dishwater.
That's
so on a pre-test, when you're in that due diligence period, your home inspectors are going to go, your good home inspectors that know how to test, and this is how I train them all, is go to the areas that are most likely. So is that, maybe it's bathroom ceiling fan, but you can have a house with 4 bathrooms. Which ceiling fan do you pick? The master? The half bath by the pool table room? It's tough. It's a crapshoot. Because on one hand, you're thinking like a meth user, and the flip side of that is meth users don't think. They'll do it wherever.
Yeah.
So anywhere that's pulling air. Cold air returns sucking 70% of the air in every home to feed the furnace. So that furnace system is a great place to go because 70% of the air is there.
Yeah.
Bathroom fan areas.
If
I'm going in the bathroom,
so much sense.
yeah, test them by those. I typically will go into kitchens if they've ever cooked it, or if they're smoking at the table. Won't they turn on the fan?
Yeah.
Microwave fan or vent hood fan. Again, I just try to think like a meth user,
That's trying to hide it.
And they don't think. If I'm testing a bedroom, I try to do the mental gymnastics of where's the headboard, which is going to be opposite of where the TV antenna is, which TV antennas are going to go away now.
Yeah.
But if I can look and see that and kind of do the mental gymnastics, where would the headboard be? Now, where's the window? Because I think if I was smoking meth in my bed, I'd smoke it in my bed and I'd open the window.
Yeah.
So maybe that wall on the sliding side of the window. But then which bedroom do you test?
Yeah.
A home inspector's typically going to test 1 to 4 areas. And the state standard for testing is 3 areas. So their job is to go, what's the most likely area? And hopefully they're going to get it right.
Yeah.
but it's tough sometimes.
Yeah, and so cold air return's a big one. I know. So we had a home Checkmark Home Inspection. I always say his company's name wrong. Jeff Comstock with Checkmark Home Inspection. He was in here talking about this, and he does some of this stuff. And he said that one of the biggest signs, because a lot of people know that the cold air return is a spot.
Right.
They magically,
they're clean.
It's spotless.
Yeah.
It is spotless.
Yeah.
And that's the one spot in the whole house. So if you see those kinds of things, you guys go to the furnace and the squirrel cage like you were talking about and test inside.
And it's a different mindset, but for me, I'm going to the filthiest part of the return system or the furnace. And it's not to catch anybody, but if somebody's paying money to go, is my house safe?
Yeah.
Isn't it your responsibility to go to the places that are the filthiest?
It's the right
They
thing.
don't want you to say, there's no meth in here. They want to know their family is safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go to the dirty areas. Go to the filthy areas. And when I'm doing testing, I hit the furnace or cold air return last because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing a bathroom ceiling. Or one of the things the health department told me is meth users like to watch themselves smoke in the mirror. So behind the toilet, you know, if the mirror's right here, toilet's right here, they like to smoke on the toilet and they like to watch themselves smoke it in the mirror. So that wall can be a good one, or this wall can be a good one, right? But if they've been brand new painted, why are you wasting your time on that wall?
Because you know it's most likely not gonna come through.
It can be encapsulated with paint.
It can come through, but it's most likely not going
Right.
to. Okay.
Right. But you know, there's Kmart remodels.
There are different levels.
Target remodels and Nordstrom remodels.
Yeah, I replaced the sink. It's a full remodel.
Yes. So on maybe the Kmart remodels, you know, where they've sprayed a light coat of paint on the wall, it'll be detectable for sure.
Okay.
If they've rolled on, you know, 2 layers and put their keels on, there's some where it's just flat out not going to detect. But when I'm in houses that are brand new, remodeled, new paint everywhere, I'm typically going to avoid, unless it's new construction, but in a remodeled house, I'm going to go to places that I don't think are. Because then when it's not there, I can say, you and your family are good to move in.
Yeah.
I won't test you, no detect. I want to ensure you have a safe house, and I hope it's no detect.
It's
if that
not
makes
about
sense.
the answer.
Yes.
It's not about whether or not you get a good positive or negative. It's just
do your client justice.
Yep.
Go to the nasty places where you think it would be, so that when it comes back, no detect, and most of them will.
Yeah.
Even though 1 in 10 sounds kind of scary.
It does.
Most of them are no
90%.
detect. Then you can say, and I've tested the worst areas. So if it's not in the nasty areas, pretty sure it's not in the good areas.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And you sleep well at night. Everyone sleeps
it's a
better.
different mindset
It's
of
an
testing.
insurance of making sure that you're taken care of.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically we have not talked about that would be important for us to know?
Probably the biggest thing that I'm encouraging people to do, test. Do a home inspection. And I know we're cheap here in Utah. Do a home inspection. So you know, when people spend $300,000 on a house, or $150,000 or $500,000, it just blows my mind when they fight a $350 home inspection. Or they go, I don't want to pay you 6%.
Yeah.
Well, great, because guess what? You cannot know the difference and go buy you a meth house. But as an educated realtor, you can go, this is some of the best money you can spend. Not to find out it's no detect and I've wasted your money.
Yeah.
But to go, you've spent, maybe it's $350 for the home inspection and $125 for a meth test. I'm an advocate of meth testing and sewer line scopes.
Yes. If there's a tree in the front yard, it's the same as a rental.
They are.
We always get it checked.
If you miss a water heater, it's $1,000. Miss a sewer line?
It's 10 or 15.
Yeah. and meth is kind of the same way. Sewer lines and meth are 10,
Yes.
15. Not that it costs that much to pay us to decontaminate, but then when you do your remodel behind us.
Yeah, because you guys tear out the carpets, but you don't put new carpets back in.
No, but they get to.
Homeowner.
Yeah.
When you talked about the ducting that you guys take out, if it's a flex ducting, you don't put it back.
Right.
You just take it out. And
Yeah.
so there's above and beyond your cost. So for $125, and now in Salt Lake, you didn't get that done, and you go to sell, and the new buyer has every right to have that test done. You can't tell them they can't have the meth test done. It is a buyer's right. And they get it done, and now you're on the hook for getting full decontamination plus all the remodeling afterwards. And there's nothing you can do because now you've lost occupancy of your house.
It's an
Nothing
insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's a $125 insurance policy to go, thank you for not letting me buy a problem.
Yeah.
I still might buy that exact same house, but all of a sudden you can shift the cost and go, I want your house desperately. I love this house.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay that 10 to 15 grand, not me.
You've taken payment at closing from us.
Yes.
So the seller, a lot of times, $5,000-$6,000 to get this done, they don't have that kind of cash.
Right.
Plus, they're buying a house and they're taking all this money. So one of the things you've done for us is you've taken the payment at closing, meaning that we get an invoice from you. It goes to the title company. The house sells. It gets paid directly from title. Are you comfortable doing that on a regular basis, or is that a one-off?
It's more of a one-off.
Okay.
Not that I don't do it, because I truly am keep the deal together, whatever it takes. Sometimes I have it. Sometimes I can get half, and then the other half's at closing. It's never worth losing a deal over.
Yeah.
So it's not standard, but it's absolutely not uncommon for me.
Gotcha.
And it's easier in this world today because there's equity in houses.
That is very true.
So,
10 years ago it would have been really tough.
Yeah, you would never
think about
do
that.
it. So it just, I've never had a realtor lie to me and go, the money's there and it's not. And they know if there's enough equity that, because they want to get paid too.
Yeah,
You're getting paid at closing too.
Yeah, yep.
So it's not in my standard contract. My standard contract is 50% down, 50% once we get the test results back and it's cleared. And I would never want a realtor to lose a deal over it. So
yeah, and we're of the opinion as realtors, me and Clint, just this is our team, not Century 21. If a client doesn't pay our vendor that we've recommended, we've done this with home inspections, we've done this mainly home inspections. I don't think we've done anything else, but we've have a person will do a roof and get paid at closing. We'll have just some handyman work that get paid at closing. HVAC will get paid at closing. If they don't, we take it on ourselves as responsible because we recommended. We connected you guys, and we said yes, they'll pay it, and if they don't, we feel responsible for it.
Well, and I pre-lean my stuff.
Oh, do you? On everything?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Everything.
That's a great way to do it.
I go, I think it's $125 to do the pre-lean.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean a title company has to pay us.
Yeah.
But they're foolish if they don't look at it.
Yeah, the lender's going to freak out on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you actually have to have a lien where the title company pays you, but most good title companies will go, pre-lien, is it paid?
Yeah.
Because they pay attention to it. So we pre-lien everything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
And that makes it easier for me to go, sure, we'll take payment at closing because I know the title company's going to
there's no chance.
Have our back too.
That makes perfect sense. I didn't even think of that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-leaning. I know a lot of construction guys who didn't pre-lean jobs back in the day.
Right. Yeah, and it's just
they didn't get paid.
Yeah, it's like 5% a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never looked at the contract.
Yeah,
I didn't really look at it because I went to those sellers.
I give it like
I got a copy
30
of
to
that
45
part.
days, there's no interest. But after that, it's 5% a month.
Yeah.
That's loan. It's cheaper to get a hard money lender than you know. And so for
okay, well, thank you. I really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me in here,
Of
and
course.
thanks for being an advocate for safe houses. Because I go,
Absolutely.
sometimes it's hard to ask your client to spend